Welcome to the Week in Review. My name is Dean, deanblundell.substack.com. That, of course, is my very good friend, Mr. Lev Parnas, at Lev Remembers on Substack. Go there today, become a subscriber. He is a bright light in the dark, shitty mega sky. And, of course, my friend, venerable investigative reporter from narrative.org, Mr. Zev Shalev. Gentlemen, what a head start. You know, one of the things I fucking love about doing these with Lev is that in no way will you ever get anything inauthentic in any of our podcasts. You're never going to catch us going, we're going to gin up this narrative, we're going to do that, because we start the podcast as Lev is flowing, talking about John Bolton getting boned and what the inside scoop is. So why don't we start there? Because Bolton is literally, I think he's in front of a judge right now, right? Just got indicted yesterday in Maryland.
He's in the courthouse now. Literally, as we're doing this right now, he's in Maryland. He is in front of, I think, the judge. They're waiting for the judge just to proceed. They're right in front of it. But out of all of these indictments right now so far, I could promise you and I could tell you John Bolton is going to go through some things. John Bolton is definitely,
like the Ukrainian ambassador in 2017.
When's the last time I heard that expression, Lev?
Wow, great memory. Great.
You know what's incredible is that's your phrase. That's your phrase.
That's the phrase. A lot of people forget that. A lot of people, people say they can't hear me. You guys hear me? My audio is good.
Yeah, it's good if you're just a little bit closer. Yeah.
As close as you can.
Yeah. You're so much better looking closer too, buddy.
Yeah. Remind people where that phrase came from. That's actually really interesting. That was from.
No, I might get my headphones. It might be better with the.
Sure.
Better with the headphones.
Yeah.
Could be better if your microphone's connected to it. Should be better. But this is fine. This works, I think.
Oh, this works? Okay.
Yeah.
Next time I'll try to get a little bit more professional. Put headphones on. Like
that's the beautiful part of this is that nobody's ready to go this morning.
You got those regular AirPods 1989 looking things there, but
you got to use the wired ones, otherwise they're hackable.
Yeah, Zev's professional. You
can't have them hacked.
The back, you can't see it. He just didn't get a chance to tape it.
Dude, before we get to the Week in Review, speaking of hacking, did you know that you can hack those wireless headphones? Did you know that people do hack them? And speaking of hacking, yesterday, a couple of days ago, do you remember we were supposed to have Jacob Karsbo on with us, Danish intelligence guy, Malcolm Nance's buddy?
Yeah.
He got hacked. So his account disappeared. Like, Danish intelligence dude, his entire account zipped. Nutted, gone.
Let me say that's before we go forward. I just want to make sure give everybody one of the things that because my account has definitely been hacked for the past over a week. I've been having issues from subscribers disappearing, from people not getting notifications. We've been working on it with Substack support. They're overwhelmed. I don't know how it's going to go. So to be safe on the secure side, and also I think, a lot of people have been telling me to do it, to get my voice out to a louder audience, get out of the echo chamber. I start up Lev Remembers YouTube channel. So I ask each and every one of you to come out there, also support me on Lev Remembers. It's at Lev Remembers on YouTube. And the way these things work, I'm understanding every day more and more. It's all algorithms. The more people watch, the more people like, the more people follow, the more it gets out there. So Substack is always going to be my family. Substack is always going to be home where we do all our breaking news and everything. But the reason I joined Substack to begin with, the reason why I'm even out here, is to get this information out. And I risk a lot. But the people that I know that go out there and get me this information risk a lot every day to be able to get this information out. And we need to get out to much more. And Substack is great. It's growing, but we need like right now we have like 400 people. We need to have 400,000 people. We need to have the information, because to really be able to do some damage, to be able to save our democracy, we need to let our voice out. So I want everybody to know I'm here, never leaving the same content, even more. Substack is home, but I'm also going to be basically working double the hard, less time for family, but I'm going to also start spending time on YouTube, and I asking for you guys to join me there, support me, give me the love there to be able to break through those algorithms, get out to a bigger audience, so we could be able to really make a difference, because we have a lot of stuff planned, a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I'm planning on going, as I've told you, on the road. So plus me, Dean, have been talking about some things. Me, Dean, and Lev have been talking. I mean, there's a lot happening, folks, and I really ask of you, if for nothing else, but to make sure you are always informed. Make sure you follow all of these three people here on Substack, and all of us. I think you guys also have YouTube or other platforms. Just in case, make sure you follow everybody, because listen, you never know. We're living in a world where you could one day wake up and Substack is not there. And then what do you do? You know, where do you scramble? And the most important part, the part of the resistance, the part of to make sure that we're always able to stay together, is that's why to have other sources. So it's not that YouTube is any better. Substack is the best form right now, but YouTube has a bigger audience, bigger reach right now. And until Substack grows to that point, we need to be able to, because that's my mission. My mission is to not to be able to put on some show, folks. My mission is to give you the raw information, and I risk it. Trust me, I deal with it with my wife every single day. My wife, my kids, and it's not only me. My son Aaron is on this platform. Aaron's all over the place. Substack, TikTok, they're attacking him all over. Besides worried about myself, I got to worry about him. But you know, I just want to let everybody know before we even get started into all the craziness that we're dealing with. Just a little announcement there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And diversifying reach is really important, folks. Making sure that you subscribe, making sure that you follow, making sure that you follow us absolutely everywhere. I'm on Twitter at It's Dean Blundell. Zeb is also on Twitter. Lev is on Twitter. Yes, it's a shithole, but it's, you know, a shithole that, you know, is readily available, probably not going anywhere anytime soon. And it's never been more important to share this content, which is why it's so awesome to see so many people hammering those hearts at the bottom of the screen, which is why we're so grateful every time you hit that little square with the arrow and you share while we're actually live, because we're going to get to some shit today. And this is some shit that you're not going to get from anywhere else, because we're going to speak MAGA. We're going to translate what's going on, because we've got a guy who's fluent, an OG. Also, we've got maybe one of the world's best investigative reporters who knows everything about what's going on in Russia. And Donnie 2 Weeks is heading over to Budapest right now. So let's start and break this down. Let's get comfortable. Let's hit those hearts.
Saying, he said Twitter. We're all on Blue Sky. You don't have to. I don't do mostly anything on Twitter.
Oh, you don't? Okay. I need to. Yeah. Do I need to? I've got a following on Blue Sky too. I just abandoned it for some reason.
Yeah. So you know, but folks, with that said, I also want to say this, and it's very important. I know we're making some movements, but there's certain for you guys, you do not need to go on Twitter, because we're not trying to support Twitter. But for people like me, for people like Dean, for people like Zev, we need to go on Twitter, because we're trying to get the message out. We're not going on there to interact, to listen, to support, to give money to Twitter. No, we go on there to be able to
get out of our silo.
We go out there to get out of the echo, to be able to. So we're not asking you to go support Twitter. We're not asking anybody here to go on Twitter, to follow us on Twitter. Absolutely not. What we're telling you is we have to be there. So don't, and that's one of the things the left has to stop doing, is judging and saying, oh, well, you know, you're going on to. No, I'm going there. I'm risking my life going on there, because every Republican, every MAGA, every right wing is on there listening to what I'm telling you. And I'm not going there supporting Donald Trump. I'm going out there saying the same thing I'm telling you here. So you got to understand, that's what we're trying to do. And that's what more people need to do that are out there giving the message, because it's not about supporting Twitter. It's about getting the message out. And the more people we get the message out that about what's happening, that's the only way we're going to do it. So in no way are we promoting or asking anybody to go to Twitter. Our platform is Substack, and this is our home. The other places you could find us is Blue Sky, and you could also definitely, but you know, Blue Sky is just a place where I post things and repost. But where we really do our work is YouTube and Substack. So that's the place where you follow us. Twitter, all the others, Blue Sky, those are emergency places. If God forbid you wake up and Blue Sky is not there, and you need to find us, you need to reach out, you need to make sure. That's part of what we're talking about, the resistance, to make sure that you're following everywhere. And also, everywhere you follow us, you're giving us the support, buying out, because like I told you, they're algorithms. It doesn't matter what. You don't have to ever go on Twitter, but you should still follow us, because the more followers we have, the more algorithm, no more plow. That's how these things work, folks. So so sometimes you have to be smarter than them, and that's one of the things I'm trying to teach the Democratic leadership and some of these strategists, as they call them, is you have to think like mega things. You have to think like they do. You have to react to. You have to be aggressive. So that's why I just want to let you guys know that. And so this way, let's not get controversial. What the Dean said, he's on Twitter. That I want to make it clear. So now let's get into some.
I didn't know how much people on Substack hated Twitter until the chat just lit up with, what the fuck are you
something.
I know you stepped into it as soon as you said Twitter. I was like, oh my God.
You come to my rescue. You're like, everybody leave him alone. We need to be there. We're not going to get radicalized there. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Let's get to it. John Bolton, he is in court right now, surrendered to authorities after being indicted. 18 counts, gentlemen. 18-count indictment. Former Trump advisor was handed down by a federal grand jury in Maryland as the United States called him, quote, a bad guy, a guy that he was his national security advisor, a guy that wasn't a bad guy until he was a bad guy, and you know how these things go with Donald John Trump. We'll pit stop here real quick. Lev, you can maybe set this up because I want to know what the 18 counts are. I also want to know if they're legitimate, and I also want to know if hey, listen, is this political retribution or is he really a bad guy? Did he do some shit?
How about this? It's all of the above. I mean,
okay, next subject.
And it really is, you know. So I mean, let's first start off with, is John Bolton guilty? I have no idea. None of us have an idea. Now let's say, that's why we have a court system. Let's answer the second question: is this political retribution? 100%. I mean, it's not, we don't have to guess it. That's, Donald Trump has been trying to go after Bolton since 2020, since he's been, even while he was in his cabinet, after he was against him while he was in his cabinet, Trump. I remember while I was there, Rudy would go fight with Bolton about Venezuela, about Russia. I mean, you name it, there was, Iran, you name it. So, yes, it's definitely political retribution. But then we get into some other stuff that people really need to understand, that that this is a big problem that we've had in this country. See, Donald Trump, one of the things why he's getting away with a lot of the things is he's exploiting a lot of the problems that we've had in this country that have been covered up and swept under the rug for so long, that now he's just using it and knows, because, like, I'll give you an example. The fact that we make fun and just normalize that we live in a country, the United States of America, where you could get indicted by a ham sandwich, is easier than a ham sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that that's even a term should tell you something right there before we go even further. Forget Donald Trump for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we as an American citizens have to fear that if there's some crooked prosecutor or crooked police officer, or even a biased or opinionated or having a bad day. Think about how many bad days we're all people. A police officer had pulled you over and he just got into a fight with his wife. You answered him the wrong way. And you know what? Now your life is screwed for the rest of it, because you will be charged with 3 charges: resisting arrest, assaulting a law. They'll pile up quicker than you could do it. And your day, and you might be on your way to work, coffee. That's how our system is set up. So the fact that we live in a society where you could get somebody indicted, where there's no system, where that hasn't changed in all these years, that nobody's come up with a system and said, no, that has to be the hardest part. The hardest part is when because the second that person is indicted, his life changes. From economically, morally, his family, everything, because that's it. Because now part 2 comes in. Because now we say we live in a fair society where you're innocent until proven guilty. Bullshit. We don't live in that. That may be written there. That's what we wanted to think, but that's not the perception. The perception is that because the government is not corrupt, the government can't be wrong, the government couldn't possibly do something wrong, that means, well, if they're right, that means you have to be guilty. So now you are put in a position where you have to prove yourself. You have to defend yourself, not them prove you, even though they keep the media, everybody keeps the pundits come out there. Yes, you're innocent until proven guilty. Okay. Then we continue going that you're going to have a jury of your peers. Bullshit. Well, jury of whose peers? The jury of the peers where you got indicted. You might did the crime there. You might have never lived there. You might be from Alabama and now you're in New York. You might be from New York and now you're in what jury of your peers? It's not jury of your peers. Again, these are all situations that regular people that I face, the regular people that face on a daily basis, and that's why the federal government, and that's not even talking about
That's been the
financial.
weaponization process of the judiciary in the calmest of times in
The
American.
That's not
Yeah.
even talking about the financial process that it costs you because you're fighting an unlimited amount of money that's going after you with some of the smartest, brightest Harvard, Yale grade collection of brains out there. So with all of that, that is our typical federal judiciary system. Now you add Donald Trump. Now you add the corruption. Now you add the influence. Now you take away all the barriers. And now you say, okay, you know what? Now I'm going to literally do whatever I want. There's nobody's going to stop me. And I'm going to tell them what to do. And we're going to get rid of anybody that will stand up or talk to us. We're going to threaten anybody that tries to speak up. We're going to fire anybody that doesn't follow along with what we're telling him. And then once we're done doing it, we're going to go on our retribution list. So this is where these people are. The only difference that I'm going to say between John Bolton and let's say Comey and Letitia James, because I also believe they are going to go through something, unless, one of their judges, because listen, yes, is there still some barrier left? A very thin barrier. The thin barrier right now is those judges that could try to end this before it goes any further. I'm not a legal expert, but I've spoken to some. But then there's things called appeals, where you just like as a defendant, you could appeal. So can the federal government. And when they appeal, and eventually they get a different judge, it goes to a different system. And we've seen how Donald Trump has used the appeal process. So when you see all these pundits on TV talking about, oh, Comey, yeah, he's going to get this dismissed. Oh, Letitia James don't even. I'm telling you, you hear it first. Watch it, listen. We'll be back here in a few months. We're not going in. As long as they don't shut us down, we will be here. And I can promise you, we will be talking about. And unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. I tell you that before I start talking every single day. But unfortunately, if I had to bet, and I'm in Gamblers Anonymous right now for 4 years, straight. So I wouldn't put that bet on, but I'm telling you, if don't do it. It's not going to happen. So that's where jump on. As far as the charges now, they're a lot more serious than the others. See, the others are
Comey's we don't even know what Comey's is. It's like two indictments. They threw the third one out, and those are your ham sandwiches. But there seems to be more than a ham sandwich in these indictments with Bolton.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
The Comey's and them, they're also called like holding charges.
Yeah.
Because usually then you got superseding indictments. Some of the superseding indictments I hear that they're planning on a lot of these people is again bullshit charges, but charges that in our country are made up not for the citizens, but things that have to be changed. Like for instance, the IRS laws. Our IRS laws are set up that just like you could indict a ham sandwich, you could go and indict anybody, any American, at any single time. I don't care how clean, how many accountants he has, how much you try to do it, but there's interpretations of the law one way or the other, and they could charge you with IRS fraud. Okay, that's another glitch. And what has happened the past few days that's really not being talked about here, but my source would tell me is Trump has weaponized the IRS. So what he did is he went out there and fired all these IRS agents at first. Oops, sorry guys.
No worries. Yeah, he cleared the deck in the IRS. He cleared the deck of the DOJ.
On the pretense, telling everybody, mega, that we're going to get rid of IRS agents. We're going to stop weaponizing the IRS. But it wasn't to stop weaponizing, it was to put in loyalists to now that he could now actually use it as another part of his tool to go after his, what's it called, retribution list, which is a very long list, and there's people that's being added all along. So now you get to Bolton. He's looking at more serious. There, he got 18 charges.
Yeah.
I don't have the breakdown of the whole.
They're mishandling classified information. 8 of them are unlawful transmission, and the rest are unlawful retention. So of classified materials. So it's all Espionage Act stuff.
So nothing financial, Zev.
Nothing financial, but this is espionage. This is spying. Yeah, this is a very serious crime that he's being accused of, crimes he's been accused of. And I mean, the thing is, he's been using AOL, because who uses AOL to do their spying? I guess this guy does. And he's been sending these emails with classified information to his wife and daughter, who have been his editors, he claims, for his books. So he says he's writing a book, and in there, he's got all these classified information that he's been passing to people who aren't supposed to receive this classified information. If you're allowed to handle classified information, you are allowed to handle it. You're not allowed to pass it off to your family members who might be editing a book for you. So this guy has been doing this for a long time. The investigation comes out of a part of the Department of Justice that is not the same as the Halligan, Department of Justice, where they're just appointees that Trump has put in there. This is a real investigation that's been going on for a long time. He probably did these things. I mean, it's hard to imagine he didn't, because there's an email record. The most ironic thing of the whole thing is that it was an Iranian hack that revealed that he had been passing all this classified information through his AOL accounts.
And they knew it earlier.
But, he's Mr. Anti-Iran. He's Mr. I want to go and blow up Iran. And this is Iran's retribution. The other ironic thing is that you've got Donald Trump and Iran actually agreeing on something. They both want Bolton to go to jail for this stuff. So that's an unusual pairing for that alliance.
What a shot to the heart of John Bolton. The guys that have been trying to kill him for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they got Donald Trump putting him away. Can you imagine? The thing about it, they couldn't kill him, assassinate him.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump comes in, pulls his he says he's open game, and then he says, "Oh, you guys can't do the work. I'll finish him off. I'm going to put him away for you."
The DOJ used Iranian intelligence to basically put away Bolton for
that
Trump.
Is
I mean,
unbelievable.
it's kind of crazy. But
this I want to just add a little bit to what Zev was saying, because it's important to add to just clarify a little bit. Did Bolton do some of these things? Absolutely. I would say I agree 100%. That's why I think he's going to go away. And I think that's why, but this is why Trump knows, and this is what Trump uses. And Trump, what's it called? Just like what I told you about the IRS, that Donald Trump, anybody that understands that there's the way the IRS code is set up, that it's like this, the way, and most of its interpretation, that it could be interpreted one way or the other. And that's why they could go after anybody. Same thing. There's, like, for instance, you going out and filing a credit card application, and instead of putting down you made $70,000 a year, you put down $100,000 a year. That's fraud, bank fraud, So that we have a lot of rules that most people break, and the federal government doesn't go after them. That's why they see it. They're like, yeah, but some of these rules, like jaywalking in some parts of America, you could get a major, a misdemeanor, or I don't know if it's a felony. But think about it. It's like we have all kinds of rules that have been written from hundreds that have not changed with time. So certain things that I look like. So when you get to Bolton's case, all of this classified stuff is not what Trump, when he came, my sources have told me, when he came into office, he made them dig into, to look into rules and find where to nail him on everything that things. See, if you probably take a look at all of these politicians, they all break.
Well, I don't know if you remember when Donald Trump in 2017 claimed that he only paid $750 in taxes. Like I remember that shit. Like and listen, how many other oligarchs aren't paying their fucking taxes because they're in the Panama Papers, or they're in Cyprus, or they're in this country or that country. And I'm not talking about Russian oligarchs. I'm talking about the men in the United States of America, like the Ellisons of the world or the Elon Musk of the world. Because they're assets, they're not going after him. And to your point, every single politician, every single millionaire, every single billionaire, dude, we all do it. Like, we all look for ways to go, do I have to give the government money? And there's all these loopholes and glitches, but it is stacked for the house, right? To the point. And whoever's in charge of that house gets to apply those archaic, weird, glitchy laws to anybody they want.
Well, that's
even though they're doing all of this themselves.
So that's why what Zev says, did Bolton do it? Yeah, Bolton probably do it, but I mean, Bolton's not an idiot. Also, Bolton is one, has been doing this for so many years. He probably did under the assumption
everyone does it.
Everyone does. Yeah, even I'm not justifying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's okay. But what that's why I just wanted. Trump is going. That's why I think that's why my response is why I think they're all going to have problems.
Yeah,
it's because technically he, and again, if we live in a world, because how many people are sitting in prison because of a technicality? Like even take my own charge, for instance. I usually don't talk about stuff like that, but I went to one of my charges was because I donated $2,500 to Pete Sessions on a credit card.
Yeah.
And my partner, Igor, donated the maximum $2,500 to Pete Sessions on his credit card. You know what our charge was? What neither one of us realized? Because the credit card was a corporate credit card. So they said we overgave because we doubled the contribution. So in a normal world, that money gets kicked back to you.
Yeah.
100% of 100% time. They say you can't accept the money, you take it. In my world, I got charged with a felony for overcharge. And
your house got swatted. You got put in fucking solitary confinement, for fuck's sake.
You were targeted. Of course you were.
Meanwhile,
but here's the thing.
let me just point this out. Meanwhile, Elon Musk gave Donald Trump $350 million fucking dollars.
True, that might be above the FEC regulation limit, I think.
Like, I went to prison for something that when my, the only reason, like, I'm honest, the only reason I didn't appeal, because I went to trial. I lost in trial. It was and the only reason I didn't appeal is because I was blessed, because I had God gave me an incredible judge that saw through the bullshit. And yes, he basically gave me a sentence to a degree where he tried to save my life, because they were trying to put me away first for life by the Espionage Act. They tried. Then it superseded me, changed that, and tried to put me away for 25, 40 years or something I was looking at. Then when I went to trial and I lost, they were asking for me to get 140 months. This is crazy for shit that, like, this is what I'm saying to you. The people like, Bernie Madoff, this is the type of stuff. We're talking about people that are terrorists. Like, we're talking, and I was working for the president. Forget about whatever. I was working for the president. He's not getting charged. Nobody, but I'm going, getting these. So that's what I'm saying to you. So when the judge gave me 20 months, it was a point where they were not appealing it, because they were going to try to appeal it, which I was worried about, because the judge downparted so much to it. But, when they didn't appeal it, it was a decision me and my lawyer had to say. He said, listen, we could appeal it, and you probably have a good chance of probably winning. He goes, but they could give you a new case, and if it's a new case, it's a new judge. And a new judge, you get a pick of a litter. You get one of Trump's judges, you're going away for 20 years. So and that's where I had to take it.
So interesting.
And that's why a lot of people, that's just like Michael Cohen. They gave him literally 24 hours. They said, if you don't take this plea deal for 3 years, it doesn't matter what you did wrong. If you don't take this plea deal, we're going to go indict your wife alongside with you. So this is how the government, just think about, played before. Well, it was still part of Donald Trump at that time.
Yeah, but they had some people in there that had some pedigrees that wouldn't abuse kind of the system, even though the system is meant to be abused, right? Now you're talking about, which I think is that point of difference. I'm going to throw it over to Zev here in a second.
And let me say, the most ironic part, my prosecutors.
Mhm.
I'm not going to mention some names because I'm not going to hear dox people, but my prosecutors in the Southern District of New York that went so hard against me and to keep all that tried to make sure that Donald Trump's name would not even be mentioned in my trial, tried to do whatever they could, were then at least one of those prosecutors then signed that petition. Remember when they had that whole with Eric Adams, where you had the Southern District of New York resigning?
Yeah. But they're resigning for doing his
fuck it, I'll
prosecution.
say his name, Scott and Hagen. I don't give a shit. Scott and Hagen, you guys deserve to know. Said because they tried to make him a hero. He was a hero because of that time, but he went to all degrees, Scott and Hagen. He was a hardcore mega until all of a sudden it didn't go their way. So that's what I'm just trying to say to you. That's how.
Let me ask you though, Lev, about what Donald Trump might be doing here, because you've got John Bolton.
I just want to say, the type of shit that went on in my case. Scott and Hagen walked by my attorney. And you guys could go Google it and watch it. The New York Post reported it. He walked by my attorney, walked to there was federal agents, like 10, 20 federal agents standing behind, and during a break and during court, walked up to them and said, look, because my attorney wants some kind of, what's it called? The motion. He turned around, looked at him in court, and turned around and said to the FBI agent, he goes, "Give me your gun. I only need one bullet. That's all I need for him."
Whoa! Wow!
You can Google it.
That is unbelievable. Did he get in trouble for that?
No, what trouble?
That's crazy.
The federal government.
Let me ask you about
the judge said, let's all behave. Let's all behave. Let's tone it down. Can you imagine if I said that or my attorney said that?
We wouldn't be talking to you right now. Yeah.
That's true.
It's unbelievable story, Zev. Go ahead.
The thing is, Donald Trump is doing what was done to him to everybody else, it seems. He's got Bolton up on these espionage charges that are basically the same charges that he faced for Mar-a-Lago. He's got Letitia James up for mortgage fraud, which is the same charges she had him on in New York City. I mean, it just feels to me like he's trying to prove that you can be a president and be ordering political retribution in order to convince everyone that he was acted against, that he was a victim of political retribution through the DOJ. I mean, it's striking that these are exactly the same charges as Mar-a-Lago.
Well, it's part of the plan. And there's more coming. This is just folks. Just let me explain something to you. Donald Trump wants perp walks. He's frustrated that they're not getting perp walked. They're not walking like the other sailors say to you, like
frog marched in orange outfits.
Public humiliation, public shaming.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's more coming, and I'm hearing there's new names to the list. So first of all, right now, number one that they're trying to is Adam Schiff. Mm-hmm. Adam Schiff is a target number one. They're also the other.
It's also mortgage fraud, I think.
Well, more and others, not just mortgage fraud. They want to nail. What I'm hearing is they're trying to bring a conspiracy case and bring into this case Adam Schiff, Brennan. They're going to bring in Andrew Weissman and Lisa Monaco.
Wow,
these are the names I'm hearing that this is going to be part of the attack to try to erase the whole Russiagate in 2016.
A conspiracy around that. All of them charged with the same conspiracy. Wow.
Yeah, and simultaneously he's doing a major. This is how insane. I can't even believe I'm reporting. I don't even know. I'm scared to walk out my house after I tell you guys this shit because I know it gets to him, and then every day I wait and I hope that my probation officer doesn't call me and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" And just what I'm saying to you is, and then
God, I love these Substack lives. By the way, continue. Yes.
That's
Well,
why I go
true and
live.
horrible.
So if God forbid something happens, I said to my wife, if we get pulled over or something, go live right away, at least so people could see that what's out. That's kind of the one thing I do think about is like my only savior is
It's
that
crazy that you're thinking about that.
that but that's how I live. I mean, we drive, I say, if God forbid, I tell my kids the same thing right away, get your phone and make sure you go live on daddy's platform to be able to, so everybody could see what's going on, because I don't, we live in a society. If you could see, just think about the shit that we see
Can you
every
can we
day.
just stop just for a second here? I want to stop and kind of really kind of, amplify what you just said. Is that you live in the freest country of the world. You've done your time. You were framed. You went to jail. You are a law-abiding citizen. You're an award-winning whistleblower. You had to have a conversation with your children that, listen, kids, if daddy gets pulled over and popped by my former boss for trying to warn people about the death of democracy in this country, I need you to go live on my fucking Substack platform. Like, just soak that in for a minute. That is what Lev Parnas deals with on a daily basis, almost like the conversation. And I'm going to use this with all due respect. Many black families have to have with their sons and daughters when they start driving. Right? It's they call it the talk. It's a travesty. It is a tragedy. It is anxiety laden for children and your kids who've been through so much already, being swatted. Play that across the spectrum in the United States of America, not just for whistleblowers, but anybody that is Antifa, progressive, anti-Trump. This weekend with the No Kings rallies all across the United States. Like, this is the environment. And it just hit me when you said you had to tell your children, all of your children, that if daddy gets picked up in a politically motivated indictment or arrest, if we get pulled over, please go live on my fucking social media platform. That is unbelievable to me, dude. And it's just, I feel for you today as you kind of talk about it.
That's the world we live in, folks. I'm saying to you, that's unfortunately, because right now, I mean, just think about the shit that we see every day. We got people being dragged off the streets right now as we're talking. If you put on your TV in Chicago, people, I mean, literally, they're destroying Chicago. They're marching. You got military people, personnel dressed as military. I can't even imagine the conversations people are having that are going out there to
It's a
protest.
state of emergency in Los Angeles right now.
Just think about the conversations that people are going out to protest are having with their family members or their kids, because they might not come back home. Because they might, who knows where they might end up, if they might even end up alive, because, Donald Trump's orders are, if they spit, we kick, we do. I mean, whatever, I'm not going to repeat the crazy shit he says, but I mean, he's out there giving them plain orders. I mean, you got Stephen Miller saying your hands are untied. You could do what you want. And this is not even the police. This is ICE agents that are disregarding what police. We literally are watching videos, folks, of ICE agents ramming cars.
Yeah, you see that?
Dragging people out of the car, innocent people,
for being Mexican,
to be and arresting them and then charging them for hitting them. When I mean, just think about it. When playing video, you see them attacking. I mean, we see people getting dragged. I mean, 26 Federal Plaza in New York City. I mean, it's sad to watch. I mean, like, it pops up on my screen every day, but every day you watch some innocent, you don't see some trendy Aragua gang members walking in and you see them being pulled out. No, you see family people, kids, mothers walking in dressed nicely, working here with paperwork, with lawyers, with advocates, coming in, they're following orders, going into court, coming out with papers, and these masked monsters are attacking them and dragging them and to the pushing women, hitting them, laughing in their faces, Angele, get out of. I mean, the bullshit. This is just don't see. This is what I'm saying to you. I mean, this should be like, these are the videos that should be playing not on my social media feed. It'd be playing all over the world. We should be there, and that's why that's why, I can't wait, Dean, that we speak, and Zev, that we speak, some of the projects we're putting together, because this is what should be rolling 24/7. The armed guards, and we live in America, and American people have to realize that now we live in America. There's a war in the United States. You turn on the TV
It's a war.
and you're watching Americans fighting American National Guard, fighting regular citizens in different parts of the state. You have people dragged out. You have a protest. I mean, we are, just think about what's happening tomorrow with October. We're going to have, millions of people in the street. This is America. So how is this America? How come nobody's out there, the Democrats saying, do you like the America you live in now? Is this the America we voted for?
And it's a war provoked by the president of the United States against the people of America. That's the thing. It started by the president. And it's unbelievable. The man supposed to represent the people of the country.
Sworn oath to protect them.
Yeah.
And he's attacking them.
Yeah, making these violence incidents occur time and time again. And, Lev, I feel so much for you, because I know we've all wrestled with this idea that something could happen to us with the work that we're doing. I certainly wrestle with it all the time. Now, I don't live in the States, so perhaps the threat is less pronounced, but the amount of operatives that are constantly working on our files, I can tell you right now, there's someone on this chat right now who's an operative who, has in the past done things to me, if you would, put me through things. They are constantly looking at our work, constantly trying to figure out how to compromise us, to isolate us, to reduce our credibility, to put us on these cul-de-sacs, as they call them. It happens all the time. And the more prominent you become, the more aware people become of your work, the harder they come at you. And that's not America at all either. This is this affects your revenue. This affects your ability to get jobs. This affects your ability to just operate in the world, because it affects your credibility.
Listen, it's affecting. I'll dumb it down even more for you people. Just think about this. Like, give you an examples. Like, I go to my kids' football games, and it's like, and these are kids' football games, and there are literally parents on both sides standing there, and more, and I live in the hardcore MAGA part of the country that stand there and scream at kids, entice to get into fights and making political gestures. I'm not going to go into and say, I walk into a supermarket with my wife. We'll be walking by, and some asshole will walk by and say, you should be still, rotting in prison still. How dare you speak up against Donald Trump constantly? 2 days ago, me and my wife were driving, and some idiot pulled up, cut us off, and then started screaming at us because he recognized me, and all kinds of obscenities. So when I told my wife what to pick up the phone to do it, he almost crashed into us and drove off. We didn't even get to that. So it's like we're living in like a war environment. It's like sickening. It's like,
and you think those are just accidental people that are coming by, but in some cases, as I've had a very similar incident to the one you just described about getting run off by a car running in front of me. You think it's maybe just a random somebody, but it could also be a very organized thing, and that's where it gets really chilling, is that you think that in your real life, people are being placed, or rumors are being spread, or information is being, seeded, so that can hurt your day-to-day life, or people could be operating against you by crashing into you, by swearing at you, or heckling you as you're walking down the street. Could be a very organized effort by some people. And I wouldn't put it past this administration to do any of those kinds of things, to be quite honest.
They are doing those things. They are doing those things. This is not, we all know that. I mean, this is not new. Like, what we're talking about, and it's funny because how many times have we done a Substack Live, Lev? Maybe 20, 25. This is the first you're telling me about the intimidation tactics that people are using, whether they be coordinated or not. It's stochastic. It's the environment. It's the environment that is given permission for people to walk up to you at a grocery store, or hack an account, or destroy someone's followers, or to destroy their ratings on Facebook or YouTube, or whatever the situation is. This happens right now, and the incredible part about it is that while the war rages at home, and it's a hybrid war, it's a physical war. You're seeing people get their asses kicked all over the United States of America for being of the wrong color, or wrong persuasion, or working at the wrong fucking Home Depot. But there's also that digital war that's happening at home, to your point, which is why it's never, ever, ever, and I'll just insert this, been more important to hammer those hearts, share this conversation, subscribe, give subscriptions, because it grows us and it grows our platform and it grows our reach and our algorithm so we can have these conversations. But speaking of wars at home, which is amazing, and I said this to another guy the other day, he's like, why do you not like Donald Trump? I'm like, dude, he pretends to be the peacemaker abroad while warring with his own people at home, while attacking his own people at home. And I want to get to the abroad stuff because the deal maker, the peacemaker, press conference yesterday announces a bunch of different shit. It was dementia filled. It was insane. But he basically announced that he and Putin had a long talk. There are probably not going to be any Tomahawks. He gives it 2 weeks. Donnie, 2 weeks is back, and he's on his way to Budapest to meet with Zelensky and Putin, and he thinks he's close to a deal in Ukraine. Lev, you're smiling. You being as tagged into Ukraine, tagged into the process, you having people on the inside. Your thoughts? Donnie, 2 weeks is just laying the groundwork to get Putin what Putin wants, or is this just more of the same bullshit?
Yeah. And I apologize. I'm not laughing because this is funny. I think
It's the same shit every fucking 2 weeks.
This is. I'm just like. I think I have already like frustration of a smile. I think it's like because when you talk about Dean, you do such a great job. Like if I close my eyes and I get a little smile on my face because I feel like this is like not reality. It's like a Saturday night like skin. You know what I'm saying to you, because what we're seeing play out. But then when you open up your eyes and when you stop talking, you realize that how real this is.
Yeah.
Because while we're talking about all this bullshit and all of these things, which we're going to get into, the one thing that people always need to realize that they're real people that are dying. Real kids that are dying right now as we speak, displaced, bombs,
Kidnapped.
kidnapped. You have shaheeds, you have ballistics, you have all kinds of barrage nonstop every day, getting worse and worse, that you just don't hear about unless you're following us, unless you're listening to us. The media is not talking about. Nobody's talking about. The Europeans are not even talking about because they're scared for their own. We spoke about that, me and Zev, even about that, because they're all now worried about their own internal security, because that's part of the psychological warfare that Putin has unleashed on all of Eastern Europe and all over there. So it's a very, very, very a sick thing to think about the way they're doing it. So I need to take you folks back just a little bit. If you remember, this is going back even further than the Alaska meeting. Because the last time they did this thing was the Alaska meeting. But this plan was hatched, if you remember, going back to when I reported and I told you that there was a secret delegation that flew in here from St. Petersburg. This is going back a few months. And where the plan was hatched that they are going to delay, prolong, and put them onto their knees. And then Trump is going to come in like the white knight.
Was that the meeting? Sorry, just to clarify, was that the meeting that happened shortly after Trump got into office? I think it was 3-4 months. And so many Russians that had been sanctioned were coming to the United States. They actually had to repeal sanctions for like 15 guys. Is that the same meeting?
No, that was separate. This happened.
Okay.
It was, and I'll go back. I'll try to find the Substack when I wrote about it. But this was right when I think when Trump went to NATO or something like that. And as he was returning, it was again. It was about when they were planning on the Turkey. There was supposed to be a meeting in Turkey between the Russian.
And Putin didn't show up. Putin
didn't show up. So it was around that time frame when this was playing out.
Yeah, that's when he mocked the thing. He said, "Yeah, I was in Turkey. I was at a coffee shop, though. Remember that?"
So basically, there was a delegation that flew and never was reported about, never was talked about. And this plan was hatched, and ever since then, you saw it go into effect. The same thing what we're seeing happen today happened exactly during the Alaska meeting. The day before, taking you folks back, when Trump announced that they were going to have the Alaska meeting, this was thrown at him by Vladimir Putin on a Thursday, right before Friday, when Trump was supposed to come out with some major sanctions that he promised the whole world against Russia, right when he sanctioned India for 50%. And the funny part, while we talk about India, he came out yesterday and said, India will not ever buy oil again. What India say today, we don't know what the hell he's talking about. We never made that statement. We're buying Russian oil. So again, even to that fact. But the reason why he said it, what people don't know, is because who is now the ambassador of India? Do you guys know? You want me to tell you? You're gonna love this one. Sergei Gore.
Oh, his former chief of staff and Russian pal. Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah, bingo.
He gets a job as the ambassador to India. Oh my God!
Zev, please go Google. I want you to right now while we're talking. I want you to quickly do some investigation. You'll see what I'm talking about.
That
Now,
is
Sergei Gore, so the
unbelievable.
Russians send in their own. So this
Yeah,
is
I wrote about him. He's one of Putin's guys. I mean, like it's just
They're all Putin's guys.
That's so Trump may just think about why would Trump make one of Putin's guys India's ambassador? Because here's the connect. This is the backdoor channels of conversation. This is how Trump does things. Shadow diplomacy. This is why I wrote this book, Shadow Diplomacy. If you make sure, if you haven't read it, you will understand. Shadow diplomacy. Trump doesn't trust his own people, even though they came in, they purged everybody. He still runs. Who are the main people running everything? Stephen Witkoff, Jared Kushner, not people on the books.
Miller.
Not people, Stephen Miller. You know, not people with experience of years of whatever. You know, but he has people doing it that are loyal to his cause, to whatever that cause of how much money or how much power we could and say. So yeah, so you saw that happen. Why? Because they needed to prolong it. And don't forget what else was going on at that time. The Epstein files. It was very important. Trump was under big heat. Dan Bongino, we broke the story. The meeting was supposed to take place between and Vance was going to have a meeting. Everybody, this was all coming up. And what happened? I'm just reminding you folks, Steve Witkoff was summoned to Moscow by Vladimir Putin. And while they were in the crowd without any interpreters, folks, Stephen Witkoff picked up the phone and called Trump and said, Vlad is willing to meet with you. That will break all the media. It will take everything away. And what happened? Trump comes out on a Thursday, right before Friday, before everything's and says, we're meeting in Alaska. And what happens? The media goes wild.
Because Trump is on Putin's leash, and this is another example of that. You've got this situation where you've got his commander, his bastard tells his puppy, you'll be here in 2 weeks in Budapest, and no ways are you sending Tomahawks to the Ukrainians. Be here, and Trump jumps. He jumps. He doesn't even think about it for 2 seconds.
Zev, no, it's even more than that. They've already worked this plan out. This is why I'll give you. That's why you saw yesterday. Think about what happened the past 2 days prior to this phone call with Putin. You had Pete Hegseth fly over to be with NATO, to Denmark, and make a whole show to make sure that the whole world and everybody got the headlines, the clips that America is pushing to send Patriots, Tomahawks, and are forcing NATO. They've made a whole show to make sure that all of these, remember they said only 7 NATO countries, now we have half the NATO countries, they're willing to buy all of this. And what does Trump say today? Wait a second. We don't have enough for our forget about Putin. forget about we don't even have enough for our own stockpile.
For what?
So,
dude, and that's the thing. Like when he said that yesterday, he's like, we don't have enough Tomahawks for us. Why would we sell Tomahawks to other people when we don't have them? And no one asked the follow-up question, which I thought was fucking fascinating, right? When the follow-up question there should have been, what do you need them for?
Well, not only what do you need for is why is Hegseth out there screaming to make sure that they buy him and send them to Ukraine?
The Secretary of Defense literally said 2 days ago in Belgium that he had enough Tomahawks. That's why he was there selling them. So maybe you should talk to his SecDef.
And then the fact, and then the other thing I want to just say to you, this is not coincidence. When people say, "Oh, Zelensky was." This is not coincidence. They knew that they played this out as long as they could. They've been talking about sending Tomahawks since the the meeting that they had in Alaska.
Yeah.
How long ago? That was a while. They lasted for a while. In the meantime, every single day, Russia has accelerated their attacks onto Ukraine. while this is going on. But no Tomahawks ever reached. Yes, you have Vladimir Zelensky running around making statements saying, oh, we have the best relationship with Donald Trump. Donald Trump now understands that he's being played by Putin. Donald Trump. And in the meantime, he's like, you know what? All right, come visit me again.
Let's have a chat again in the Oval Office.
And then right before
I'm
you
going to
visit
make you
me,
an offer you can't
Yeah.
refuse.
I'm going to give you an offer. Yeah, he's going to give him an offer he can't refuse today because he's going to tell him, listen, it's time because they're planning on hitting you hard, and if you don't, see, you got to understand. There's another thing happening simultaneously. There's just so much going on, folks. We need to connect the dots. I'm sorry, it might take a little longer, but this is extremely important because while you're having this play out, just think about it. If you have a split screen simultaneously, you have Putin's sanctioned special envoy to America, his right hand that we spoke about for several days, and we gave you the breakdown, Kirill Dmitriev, actively working with Congresswoman Anna Paula Luna about legitimizing trade between the U.S., releasing KGB JFK files without any validation.
KGB vetted files.
KGB vetted files. And then he took it a step further because right after the phone call, he put out a tweet where he tagged Elon Musk and is now the Russians are offering a peace bridge.
Yeah.
A Donald Trump peace bridge.
From Siberia to Alaska, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Thank you so much. From Siberia to Alaska.
Are you serious? Is that a real offer? That's a real offer.
Kirill Dmitriev, I've got the clip right here. I've got it. He's literally got like a drawing.
Which of course is a war bridge.
See that drawing?
Yeah.
It connects, and he tags Elon Musk, and he doesn't do it once. He does it like 2 or 3 times. Tags Elon Musk, Kirill Dmitriev, who's in charge of all of Russia's money, and he's Putin's right hand. And he's like, let's get building. Let's do it together. Let's do a peace bridge or a peace tunnel, something, but let's have peace. And the tweet that you're talking about, and I just wanted to point this out, connect these dots. Anna Paulina Luna saying, we need peace. Let's stop the war. Russia and the United States need to be friends. I got the FBI files from the KGB about JFK, But let's just run this back because this is about trade, right? The normalization's trade, getting people climatized, getting people to think that Donald Trump's really a good dude and so is Putin, and we all just need to be friends now and just stop it. We need to stop it. So Trump says this in that Truth Social post after his conversation with Putin. I've concluded my telephone conversation with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. It was a very productive one. President Putin congratulated me and the United States on a great accomplishment of peace in the Middle East. That doesn't exist, so that's a lie. I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help in our negotiation, so he's negotiating with him, in our negotiation in attaining the end of the war with Russia, Ukraine. President Putin thanked the First Lady, Melania, of course she's got to be involved, for her involvement with the children. Doesn't talk about what that is, but 30,000 Ukrainian children are fucking missing and being horse traded online. So let's go back to this. Melania, talk about trade. This is where it gets cool. He was very appreciative and said that this will continue, whatever it means. We also spent a great deal of time talking about trade. Trade. Between Russia and the United States, and the war with Ukraine is over.
And that's why let me break to you. I'll give you breaking news right now. You could timestamp it and then we could come back after the meeting in Budapest, or this is again putting Russia back onto the world stage. It's about getting relationships. It's about starting, and because Trump is now going to start relationships with his favorite, Viktor Orban, and it's going to be Putin. He's going to have a whole delegation probably come with them. There's deals being worked out, and I'm telling you, you're going to see soon announcements in the United States of Russian oligarchy, Russian money being invested into, building power plants, building technologies, buying up. He's going to come out and make, you know what? I have great news. Oleg Deripaska, the guy that we sanctioned, the guy that would try to interfere, that you got into our election, is cleared. No more. He is planning on investing $100 billion into building a power plant in Mississippi. And we're gonna got him on that's the
Russia
next
bringing
thing.
jobs to America is what they're going to be claiming. It's so interesting that Peace Bridge. Can I just say something about that? Because Russia has designs on Alaska. They want Alaska back as part of Russia. This is not a peace bridge, but it also reminds me of the bridge, and I think it's the Crimean bridge that they have in
Kerch.
being the
Yeah.
which has been the the mainstay of their supply line into their Russian forces. If they want a bridge between Russia and Alaska, who has to worry about that is Canada, because that's a supply line directly to the Canadian front, and the Arctic front.
Look at Dean.
Well, listen, part of that Kirill Dmitriev tweet that he put to Elon Musk had not just a bridge from fucking, to your point, Canada, True North Star and free. Alaska's locked in. I mean, the only way to Alaska on land is through Canada, right?
Yeah.
So the only way from Alaska into the United States is through Canada. And this rendering that Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's right-hand dude, put out and asked Elon Musk to help him build, literally cut a fucking highway right through Canada into the United States. Like it was just like, I'm like, hold it just a second. I know how fucking Greenland feels. Like, you can't just fucking appropriate several thousand miles of Canadian land because
if you've taken over the country.
Well, that's the thing, right? It feels like this is the acclimatization process, Lev, or the warming up process to the idea that Canada's next. Just stay tuned.
Well, listen. Everything is on the table, but can I? We have so much going on, and I know time is running out. Can I also share some more breaking news that is happening?
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about Venezuela, right? I told you guys he's about to, and
That's
I'm hearing
happening.
Venezuela is literally could be days away. What's it called? But yesterday something happened, and the media is not talking about it, and Trump's not talking about it. They blew up another boat.
Colombian.
About that?
Yeah.
Another boat.
Yeah.
But there's a little twist to this one. There's survivors.
Oh.
There's survivors.
They missed.
So we're gonna.
Well, and the admiral in that war theater down there just resigned yesterday too.
And I was gonna say, and the admiral, yes, and the admiral who's in charge of this was a part of this is resigning. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, because that's one of the things we spoke about during the general purge is instead of him resigning, I'd rather him be standing up to him, because that's what Trump wants. They want them to resign so they can install loyalists that will then do their dirty work. So,
We could have been forced to resign under those circumstances because he was questioning the legality of that operation, which of course it's illegal.
He's like, after his
people.
5th boat and 27th person, he turned around. He's like, "Are you sure there's drugs on these boats, dude?
Should we be killing people innocently who are, traveling on the international waters?"
They're survivors. This is fucking awesome.
The sick part is how Trump makes fun of killing people.
Yeah.
And even if you take a look at all the ruthless dictators, really, I mean, and again, unless you go back to the days of like Mussolini, Hitler, when back in those days where they would in their speeches and in their but they would talk about annihilating races and scum and vermin. Putin doesn't use words like that. She doesn't use words. I don't think Kim Jong-un uses even that they tried to somehow, you look at they've changed with the times.
Yeah.
Trump has taken us back, 80 years. I mean, we're back into those days where
Goebbels, vermin, rats, animals. Yeah.
Just think about, like, he laughs. He says, "You don't see no fishing boats in the sea." Like, are you kidding me? Like, how is that funny?
That's
How
not
is it
funny at all.
that
People
how
need
is it
those
funny
fish to
that you're
survive.
right? Exactly. How is it funny that people are scared to go fish because you're killing, you're blowing boats out? Well, what you're saying is that your intelligence is wrong, so that means you could kill a fish. Is it the right thing to say that? Don't worry, we have such good intelligence, and ours is so good. You don't have to worry. Go out and fish. That it's not. Instead, you're saying that the oceans are free. Even the
The other thing they're
fishermen are
laughing
scared.
at is
Why?
these Nazi
Why?
jokes. I mean, you've
Right?
got
Why
these.
should the fishermen be scared to go out there if your intelligence is so good?
No, well, and to that point, JD Vance, I remember someone tweeted at him like, "Dude, you guys are just killing people." He goes, "I don't give a shit." Like,
Yeah.
like tweets, "I don't give a shit."
Brian
Like, so
Krasenstein.
yeah,
He did
yeah,
to our guy Brian. It was
yeah,
Brian Krasenstein that he
yeah,
threw it to. He said, "I don't give a shit." Yeah.
yeah.
Those tweets, those chat messages by those Nazis that JD Vance defended the other day, who are part of the GOP, mainstream. They're officials within the GOP party. They're talking
He's
about
one of
laughing about
them.
gas
Yeah.
chambers and
Yeah,
can't wait
he's
to see
one.
people being gassed. And the vice president doesn't even think it's a problem. He says it's just innocent
Kids
chat by
being kids. By the way, 37-year-old
Meanwhile,
state senators.
Peter
Yeah.
Thiel is sermoning people about about how the Antichrist is coming based on Nazi philosophy. You've got these concentration camps that are being built around the country, supposedly for deportation, but there's a whole lot of them and too many of them really. And it is clear what they're building is this ICE military infrastructure, which is made up. It looks like a lot of criminals that have been let out of prison, who've been given bonuses to be racist and to be anti-Semitic and be whatever it is they're going to be, and they're going to. You can see what they're building. They're building a Nazi infrastructure here. It's not coincidence that this is happening.
And that's extremely important. What you just said, I want to touch on that, Zev. What said? Well, just think about every one of you just out there for a second. Think about what Zev said. They're building facilities all over the country. Now, speaking to some of my sources, and this is why I want you, this is because I'm going to be writing about this next, actually, is I want you to understand that Trump and ICE are shipping these criminals or whoever they are, citizens, criminals, whoever they're picking out. They're not arresting them and putting them into prisons. If there is a facility that holds them, they're trying to get them out, and they're sending them all over the country. So
World.
all over the world. I'm sorry. Thank you. So just think about who these facilities are actually being built for, because the next stage is this is being built for Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
This is being built for the American citizens that disagree. This is being built for that left-wing group that they keep mentioning. This is not being built for immigration to be as a holding cell. You don't spend that type of money on these type of facilities, and so many of them, especially in all of these states. So you call it, you know what I'm saying to you? It's a strategical. This is, folks. And again, I feel like a broken record, but this is another chapter, another part of Project 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, and it started yesterday. I don't know if you saw the news. There's a shooting of an ICE agent in Texas. So, of course, they're going to beta test this in Texas, where Greg Abbott is wheeling around like a big tough guy. But they're beta testing this in Texas. I couldn't stop with the wheeling around joke. But that's just who I am. But they arrested two people under that. This is the very, very first two arrests under that NSPM 7 memorandum that labels dissent or anybody that they think is Antifa, the left, progressive, anti-American, anti-Christian. And now they've got a new phrase that they're trying out. It's called Trantifa. So they're going after trans people, labeling them as Trantifa, a more violent edge to the Antifa movement, which does not fucking exist. There is no founder, there's no bank account, there's no email, there's no fucking group chat, there's no nothing.
But they've been there's none of that. But they've been able to arrest, and Christy Noem said, the girlfriend of the founder of a group that doesn't exist. But the girlfriend exists. What happened to her?
We haven't seen her, have we? No.
Why aren't they plastering her picture over? Why are they saying this is the picture of Antifa?
Yeah.
Remember, she came out and said, we have the girlfriend of the founder of Antifa. What happened to that girlfriend? What happened to that founder?
Well, it's the same thing that happened to Tyler Robinson. It's the same thing that happened to the Dallas ICE shooter. It's the same thing, is that they label them and then they hustle them off, or they never fucking existed in the first place. And they label them Antifa and radical left for a reason. And we're seeing it, to your point. And what Lev said is 100% true. They've increased capacity to 2 million people. In 2 million. They have increased capacity to jail people, to put you in penitentiaries in these facilities. There are 2 million empty spaces. Who the fuck do you think they're going after?
Well, I mean, when you talk about
They're sending
Antifa,
everybody
they're
they
going
don't want.
they're going to go after every LGBTQ person around.
They're going to go
Antifa is an
after
entry point to everything,
dissent.
all of that.
Dissent.
And the other part of that same memorandum speaks all about the overthrowing the government. You know, if you can't be overthrowing the government, which is a constitutional right, by the way, in America. You can't do that. So if you're protesting
you gotta go
tomorrow and you're saying, hey, we want to get rid of the Trump regime, you're screwed.
I just got to do a shout. I just got to do a shout out to my wife. I have the best wife in the world. She just brought me
very nice.
to this. Unbelievable. Like,
I
while
want
I'm
one of
doing
those,
a live, she went out, she hooked me, because she's, I love you. Just want to give a shout out to my wife, Svetlana. Awesome. For those of you that might have seen her on my documentary, you'll understand why.
Oh, she loves you too, dude. I saw it in the documentary, and she loves you enough to bring you a Frappuccino, non-latte, non-fat, double mixed, super whipped with sprinkles. That's nice. That's right. Listen, guys, I know we've been at this for about an hour and 20 minutes, and I think probably, want everybody to get on with their day, and I can't thank everybody enough for being here today. But what we talked about today in this week in review, these are signposts. These are warnings, but we give you receipts. We talk about things from a firsthand perspective, which is the important of an incredible whistleblower and American hero, and Lev Parnas being willing to put his life on the line, being willing to put his security and safety at risk. We had a couple of very personal stories today. I would encourage everybody to go and subscribe to Lev today, to share this with everybody, and not just subscribe to paid, but subscribe in general to Zev Shalev as well, narrative.org, levremembers.com, narrative.org, deanblundell.substack.com. It is a travesty that we have to talk about this, because mainstream media, which has been given the privilege of having the ability to actually get into your eyes and ears on a daily basis, refuse to. They refuse to tell you about what's underneath the hood of this fascist fucking runaway bus that is currently careening through the United States of America and may come up to Canada as well. We're watching these two superpowers, Russia and the United States, through two war criminals, two absolutely of the worst fucking characters in the history of leadership on this fucking planet. And yes, you can put them right there with the Hitlers of the world. And what we're trying to do is communicate to you that you have a duty to observe and a duty to warn. And that happens by sharing this content. That happens by subscribing. Becoming paid subscribers helps us, but it also makes the algorithm work. And it also makes the information that we give you go a whole bunch further. That's the way the algo works, and we want you to be here with us. So please share this content. Please subscribe to all of these beautiful men here, the Levs and the Zevs and the Evs of the world.
And the Deans.
And the Deans. And the Deans.
Hey, Dean, before you go, can I just ask, and this is not for myself, folks, but for the people of Ukraine. I know this is a touchy subject, especially with what we're seeing play out. We now know no matter what, this war is not stopping today. We're not getting more missiles. Ukraine is going to be under extreme hit. The winter time is coming, and there's a lot of things. A lot of people are trying to help each and every way they can. Our community here, we have a small community, Lev Remembers and Voice from Ukraine, and with all your help from the Canada, from all of the different people you guys have been helping so far this summer, we've done incredible work by being able to help them with hygiene packages. But the winter time is coming, and they need a lot more, and they need a lot of support. We put together GoFundMe for Alexander. You guys know Alexander from Voice from Ukraine. He's been on here, and I'm asking you on behalf of him. He's ready to go. We have already about 25-30% raised. We just need a little bit more. I'm asking each and every one of you, go a little further, reach into here. Those of you have that contribute, donate, God bless you. Thank you. those that haven't yet, if you can't, spread at least the message. Spread the GoFundMe all over the place. Let's get them going, because now they're going to need more help than ever before. And, God bless you guys for all the help you've already given.
Yeah. Can we just get that up here right now? It's called Donate to Provide Essential Hygiene for Kharkiv. That is at GoFundMe.com. I'm going to share that throughout my socials. I'll make sure I post it in a note coming up here in just a minute. $15,411 raised to a $50,000 goal. People have been, this has doubled since we talked about this earlier in the week in 2 days.
That's right. God bless everybody.
So incredible. Oh my God.
Work.
Yeah.
I spoke to Alex today. He's already literally, that's why he called me with tears in his eyes. They've ordered the first shipment. They already got stuff going out there from the raise. But see, with Alex, he wants to go there himself. So he's waiting for the bigger shipment to come there. What they're doing is, he told me is they're taking is making special packages of because Alex knows exactly what they need because he's been around. So he's making his own packages. So he's putting, for instance, heating packages. He's putting sanitary napkins. He's putting dry washing stuff. He's putting, some kind of, food supply, like these care packages in this package, because it's not one thing. They need and he's going into the things that most people you overlook, because they're so small, because we always tend to think about, we need clothes, we need food, we need military, we need car, we need shelter, the big item packages, and we forget that, something simple, like not being able to take a shower for 2-3 weeks causes a lot of problems and diseases and everything like that.
Or a pair of socks, right?
Or a pair of socks, or a heating pad in the pair of socks, because you have no heat. Because one of the things we're talking right now is that part of what Russia's attacking is infrastructure. They're trying to freeze them. And I ask of you to go read my Substack earlier. You'll see what I'm talking about. I wrote about is their planned attack, and if you'll see, it's not only psychological warfare on the people, on the kids, and but they're hitting their energy infrastructures, because the winter's coming. And the plan, and this is what they're telling Trump also, is the plan is to put Ukraine on its knees. So Trump comes in and like this white savior. They couldn't do it in the summer. Remember the summer offense? Didn't work. Why? Because they can't do it. Ukraine stood up to it. On the contrary, Ukraine even hit them and destroyed their own oil refineries.
They seem to forget that part, though, Lev, sometimes, that Ukraine will decide what Ukraine wants to do with Ukraine. Like, that's the outlier here is no matter what, and we're talking about aid. We'll get to it in a second. I just want to point that out, is that one of the things that I love the most about the Ukrainian people and that incredible country of warriors and heroes isn't that they're still here, is that they're fucking winning. And now they're producing their own material to be able to strike back at the heart of the machine that has committed genocide, stolen their children, raped their women, killed their citizens. And so, we're talking a lot about what Russia and Trump want. We're talking about supporting the people of Ukraine, and these GoFundMes are so important. Specifically, this GoFundMe. Again, I'll post this all over our socials today. You can find it in a post that I put up, including a week in review. But this is the one thing that people have to understand, is that Ukraine is doing this because of people like Lev, because of heating packs, because, of the Howard Buffetts of the world that are able to flood the zone and help them build drone warfare. Now Ukraine is the second largest army in all of fucking Europe, and they are a legitimate threat to Russia. So the importance of supporting them now cannot be more understated, to your point.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank each and every one of you. Dean, God bless you. Zev, you too. God bless you guys. I know you guys are stand with Ukraine. You help, you spread the message. And folks, each and every one of you, this is an all around thing. I hate, and I feel sometimes we sound like an infomercial, and it's not about having you subscribe here or do this, but this is part of the world we live in. We're living in a time where we need each and every one of us to support each other to be able to save our democracy, and everybody does their thing. From those of us that are out there spending every hour of the day on these, taking time away from our families, time away to sit here to be able to not only do this investigative work, getting it, because some people don't realize to write a letter It doesn't take you 5 minutes to write. You could tell, you understand, to be able to get the information, to be able to verify it, to be able to oversee it. Sometimes it takes me 5-6 hours to just go out there and give you that right information, because the information has to be right, because it's so important for it to go out. For Zev to go out there and put on one of those his shows like with Olga, it takes him hours to prepare. For Dean to come out here and put this out, it takes all of it, and then to come out and do it. And it's not about those; it's about making sure you guys get the information. And all we ask of you guys is the most simplest thing that each and every one of you could do, is make sure to subscribe. Subscriptions are for free. That is the first thing. To here, to YouTube, to Blue Sky, to all of our social platforms, because the way technology works, and I'm learning more than anything, is you need big followings to break through this stuff, people to watch. All of that is for free. We're here to be able to get the information out. So the subscriptions, the follows, the retweets, the messages, each and every one of you could do that, folks. And for those of you that can't go the extra mile to be able to become paid subscribers here on YouTube or other platforms, to be able to support it, that's what keeps us ticking, because we don't have billionaires. We don't have corporate sponsors. On the contrary, we have a lot of bots. We have a lot of people on our own side that constantly, call out you grifters and decide things and don't understand what is entitled, don't even want to take a second to realize it. So for those of you that do become paid subscribers, for those of you that do contribute to the Venmos and then to the Substacks to support us, God bless each and every one of you, because it's because of you that it allows us to be able to give this information to all of those that can't do it, because we understand with Trump's policies, times are not that easy nowadays. So that's why each and every one of us could do something. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to spend with us for this hour and a half. Hopefully you've got enough information that has putting you in a place where you know what's going on now, and you don't have to listen to the fake media and get their headlines.
Yeah, you can take the weekend off and go to a No Kings protest, right? Yeah,
but the most important thing, exactly. When we put it out there, we need you to spread this message far wide, because we need as many people as possible to see it, read it, watch it, as far as it could go.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Lev. Zev, you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say, the fight for democracy is a global thing. There are people who are dying in Ukraine for democracy. There are people who tomorrow will be protesting in their millions in America for democracy. There are people who are working as journalists, as influencers, as creative people trying to explain what's going on for democracy. And there are people working against democracy. And when you see the military buildup, when you see the Nazi conversations, when you see the horrific things that this administration is doing to American citizens and people who have done nothing in America, and what they intend to do to other people, you know that this fight for democracy is about life and death. This is about our survival. This is about survival of our freedoms. This is not just, us talking, over coffee in the morning. This is a very serious event that's happening in the world. Democracy is under attack everywhere, whether you live in Canada, whether you live in the United States, whether you live in Ukraine, we live in Europe. We are under attack, and it's up to the people to ultimately to stand up and fight that, to fight this evil power that's really trying to destroy all our freedoms and all the rights that we've gathered over the years. So we really need everyone to march peacefully and safely on Saturday, to support all the influencers here, deanblundell.substack.com, and Lev Parnas, Lev Remembers, because it's vital that these voices be heard, and it's vital that more voices are heard, and that you keep sharing this content. So we appreciate you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Dean, thank you for doing what you do and having us here, because you're an anchor that brings this all together and puts this properly, and we want to thank you, and for all the work you do. And just quickly, I know some of you have been putting in there about. I maybe forgot to tell you, but part of the packages that Alex is putting together, which is extremely important, and some of you have mentioned it, and is female hygiene packages, which we don't talk about, but that is part of it, and also special packages for hospitals, because the one thing that just happened was a hospital in Kharkiv got blown up and destroyed completely. So these are different, for the front line, for the soldiers. We have certain packages for the people that are displaced, that are living. We have other packages, and then we have female packages, and then we have for hospital. And all of that is Alex is working out, put together. He'll give you more info, but absolutely, that's part of the hygiene, initiative that Alex has taken upon himself. So thanks, Dean. Thank you, Zev, for having us and spreading the message.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Zev. Thanks, Lev. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for the 5 stack. Keep an eye on where Lev is today as well. Thank you, Lev. And keep an eye out wherever we are, because wherever we are, you are. And the good news about that, my dear friend, Zev Shalev, is, and I say this all the time, this was one of the most impactful hour and a halves that I've ever been a part of. And it was great because it started with us not knowing what we were here to do. Right? It started with us going, what are we talking about today?
I thought we were having a meeting.
Yeah,
So
I
here
thought
we
it
are.
was a meeting too. It turned into a Substack Live because of the importance of the subject matter, because of where we are as a society, because of where we are in North America, and because of what is at stake. And to your point, we are, whether or not you're Canadian, whether or not you're French, whether or not you're from Switzerland, you might be from Norway, the No Kings protests and the No Tyrants protests that are going on around the world this weekend are a response. It's a democratic response. And I could not be more proud to be marching this weekend and to be covering it this weekend with my friend Zev. We're going to be back here on Saturday and Sunday a little bit, and we're going to be talking about what the No Kings March looked like. We're going to try and bring you breaking news. Hopefully, we're going to try and keep each other safe this weekend as well. And the reason being is because Donald Trump will look for, and Stephen Miller and Bannon and the entire cabal, the whole fucking angry totalitarian Trump regime, will look for any excuse to provoke you. They'll look for any excuse to label you. And they will look for any excuse to arrest you, to detain you, to remove your fundamental basic human rights this weekend, to remove your ability to speak freely, to destroy your First Amendment right, your Fourth Amendment right, your Fifth Amendment right, your Sixth Amendment right. So I need everybody to be very, very cautious this weekend, but I also need everybody to be very fearless. And if I can end this whole thing with one quote from maybe one of my favorite activists, one of all time, John Lewis. Get into good trouble this weekend, everybody. No kings, no tyrants. We decide, we the people, no matter where we are, we decide what our democracy looks like. Not a bunch of billionaires, elites, and oligarchs and foreign assholes. We, the people, decide. So stay safe this weekend. See you at 3 o'clock for the 5 stack with my friend Zev Shalev, and have a great next 2 to 3 hours before we come back here and do this again, only different and way faster.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. By the way,
Thanks,
tomorrow,
guys.
Nick Parra and Narrative will be doing live coverage together for the No Kings protest.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll swing him into this a little later on, too.
I'll
We'll get his
share
thoughts.
I'll share all that stuff with you.
Okay. See you this afternoon, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody, for watching the Week in Review. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.